What's going on, everybody? This is John Prisnowski from the Bare Necessities Podcast. Happy New Year. Happy cold January. Wanted to hop on here and talk about Ben Johnson. That's right, Ben Johnson. The Bears got their man. They got the guy we wanted. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. I wanted to come on here and just quickly take a moment of your time to break this all down, to give you guys some perspective on where I'm at, how I feel about this, and what can we expect from the 19th head coach in Chicago Bears history. So thank you again for choosing to listen to this podcast. You can listen to us on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you guys get your podcasts. Please like, subscribe, comment. Feedback is truly a gift, and I appreciate every one of you guys listening to this right now. So Ben Johnson, dude is here. The guy is the new head coach of the Bears. I want to talk about my surprise reaction on why he chose us over the Raiders and all that smoke leading up this last week. The impressions that I got from his opening press conference yesterday and what I really took away from some of his comments. We're all here and we all are so curious how he is going to unlock Caleb Williams' true potential, because we know Caleb has amazing ability. And is this the dude that's going to take Caleb to that next level, to that superstar status that we think he can get to? I wanted to talk about that. And then what's the first thing Ben Johnson as head coach needs to do? Like, what is the first thing he has to do outside of build his staff? And that's going on right now, having those discussions. What is the first thing he has to do as Bears head coach? Before I get into anything, though, I just want to quickly iterate this, because I know there are some of my friends out there, there are some people out there that are excited but are still skeptical, and I understand why you're hesitant on putting all your faith into this dude that has never been a head coach before. If this doesn't work out, if him and Caleb don't work out, if this is another failure, I will be just as heartbroken as you guys. However, nobody is going to argue that this was the best course of action that this team could have taken. If Ben Johnson is able to come in here and be successful and bring stability to this franchise that has not seen a winner in a long, long time, I mean, this is a huge day for this fan base. This is a huge week for this city. This was a win. This was such a needed win for this team, for this fan base, for these players that need direction. This was a home run hire. Will he be a home run head coach? Time will tell. Were you guys surprised, though, at all this smoke that Ben Johnson was going to go to Las Vegas and Tom Brady is wowing and wooing him? You know, there's confidence and there's delusion. Seems like Ben Johnson's a pretty confident guy, right? But you would be delusional to take the Raiders head coaching job. Think about the division they play in. Think about the winner of that division for the last, 7, 8, 9 consecutive years, however long it's been. That division runs through Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Good luck. That Raiders roster, yes, there are some quality young pieces on that roster. Brock Bowers, Max Crosby, crickets. Like, outside of those two, you have no quarterback. You have no avenue to get a quarterback. It would have been such a blueprint, start at the bottom foundation, and it would take time to build that roster up. if Johnson chose the Raiders over the Bears, it would have been insane. And people need to understand and recognize that. At the end of the day, George McCaskey's Bears were a more attractive destination than Tom Brady's Las Vegas Raiders. Like, think about that for a second. George McCaskey beat out Tom Brady. Never in a world did I ever think I would be able to say such a thing. And how Ben Johnson also didn't even take a second interview with the Bears, an in-person interview, the initial Zoom call, the initial video conference interview that he took, he came right out and said, I want this job. And the Bears followed through on that. And now he's head coach of this team. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. And how impressive was that press conference yesterday? In my 20-something years of being a Bears fan, watching head coach press conferences from Trestman to John Fox to Nagy to Eberflus, that was the most impressive one by far. By far. Yes, he's a little dorky, he's a little nerdy, but he's analytical. You can tell how he talks. You can tell he's a numbers guy. You can tell his confidence and how he commands a room. Caleb, DJ, Rome, Cole Kmet, all were sitting front row. He looked over and addressed them during his press conference, talking about how he's going to elevate their play and there's a standard that needs to be met and to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I loved that. I loved it. The little Matt LaFleur jab that, he enjoyed beating him 2 times this past season. It wasn't a jab at Green Bay. It was a jab at Matt LaFleur. He has so much respect for all the coaches in this division, the hardest division in football, which he recognized and he said multiple times yesterday. But the rivalry with Green Bay, it's back. It's back. It's about time we pushed back. It's about time we stood up for ourselves. Just because we won a couple of weeks ago at Lambeau, we have a lot of ground to make up for. We have a lot of years to make up for. And I think Johnson understands that. So how is Ben Johnson going to unlock Caleb Williams' potential? And he clearly took this job over the Raiders, over Jacksonville. It's because of Caleb Williams, folks. And for all the naysayers that don't believe Caleb is it, that Caleb doesn't have talent, that Caleb sucks, Ben Johnson would not have taken this position if he did not believe in that young man. And, I think people get mistaken when you watch tape on Caleb Williams. I think a lot of people think that Caleb Williams is this wild horse that you can't tame. You can't tame him in the pocket. He can only create and extend plays outside of the pocket. No. Between the dysfunction of last season, the lack of really any significant coaching and really any significant pressure for him to perform at the highest level last year, Caleb tried so hard to be perfect. Now enter Ben Johnson, who is this offensive guru, this offensive wizard who has led the Lions the last 3 seasons in offensive EPA every year. Every year, the Lions were top 5 in offensive EPA, offensive efficiency. Ben Johnson is also that crazy, weird perfectionist. He expects not just Caleb to do all the little things correctly. He expects the offensive line to be where they're supposed to be. He expects the receivers to take certain angles, certain steps in their route. They need to be at this place at this time. We didn't have that last year. Shane Waldron wasn't doing that, folks. I don't know what Shane Waldron was doing. Looking up at the clouds in spring training and in training camp. What I'm really excited to see is Ben Johnson unleash Caleb Williams and the play action game. If you guys looked at what the Lions have done the last couple of years, they were one of the best play action teams in the league. And yes, good play action stems from a good running game. I'm excited for the Bears to get back to running the football effectively. Ben Johnson's going to bring all of that. Very, very curious to see what our running back room is going to look like. Is Swift going to stay on the team? They're paying him a lot of money. But when Ben Johnson became offensive coordinator in Detroit, they shipped Swift out to Philly. Like, Swift wasn't good enough for the Lions. They didn't see him in that offense. Very curious to see how he handles DeAndre Swift. Will Keenan Allen come back? And I don't know about y'all. I don't know about you guys. And I don't think it's like really has clicked with a lot of Bears fans out there. I'm buying Cole Kmet's stock at like the highest price right now. Sam Laporta, folks, the last two seasons under Ben Johnson, Sam Laporta caught 146 balls, 17 touchdowns, over 1,600 yards. So our tight end that we just paid a well-deserved extension to before this season, who went missing in the Shane Waldron, Thomas Brown offense, he's coming back. We will officially have our tight end back. I'm excited. I am so excited to get play action going, the running game going, and throw to our tight end again, because we have a really good tight end, and we don't use him enough. We don't utilize any of our tight ends enough. Very, very excited about that. Jared Goff having 3 consecutive 4,000-plus yard passing seasons. Bears have never had one in franchise history, okay? This guy is going to help elevate this offense to depths and levels we have never seen in this city. So let's talk about the first plan of attack this offseason. And I think you guys know where I'm going to go with this. It's quite obvious. That offensive line needs a lot of help. Outside of Darnell Wright, who's going to be our cornerstone franchise right tackle for years and years to come, it is fair game. That line, everyone to Darnell Wright's left, everyone needs to bring their A game. Otherwise, they're going to get replaced. And I think a lot of guys are going to get replaced. The big fish that the Bears need to really, really try and go after this free agency, Trey Smith, the all-pro, Pro Bowl guard from the Kansas City Chiefs. Ironically, he actually played 2 seasons at Tennessee with Darnell Wright. Like, that's a guy you immediately bring in to solidify that interior. I don't know, maybe bring in Kevin Zeitler from Detroit as well, another guard, another really sound, proven Pro Bowl guard. Another name, I know he's at the tail end of his career, but I would love to see him in Navy and Orange. Zach Martin, Notre Dame's finest. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent this upcoming March. Would love to get Zach Martin to be a Bear. There's a couple centers out there that the Bears can look at. Drew Dahlman from the Falcons, Ryan Kelly from the Colts. We need a center and we need a guard. And realistically, if Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks, either prospect is on the board with the 10th pick, I expect the Bears to come away with their first round pick with one of those guys. Because Braxton Jones, folks, he ain't it, y'all. He's not it. I've seen Braxton perform well, and then I've also seen him get completely bull rushed. And for his size, he should not be up. He should not be standing straight up high. The guy's on ice skates sometimes. Bears need a complete overhaul of that offensive line, and I don't believe they're going to re-sign Tevin Jenkins. I don't believe that that's going to be a thing. When healthy, Tevin's the best offensive lineman we have. But the guy can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the field. And maybe both sides just need a new start. We'll see. Some Bears news from this morning. Thomas Brown, the wide receivers coach, Chris Beatty, Kerry Joseph, the quarterbacks coach, the defensive coordinator, Eric Washington, and our favorite positional coach, if you're a Bears fan, offensive line coach Chris Morgan, All of those gentlemen will not be retained, will not be returning to the Bears this upcoming season. Chris Morgan, see ya. Bon voyage, Chris Morgan. Good riddance. I don't know what Chris Morgan did to deserve being retained under this staff for 3 years. I feel like a lot of our offensive linemen have regressed. Although Darnell Wright had a good year, he should have had a better year than he had. Braxton Jones should have performed better than he did this year. That comes with coaching. These are young players in this league, still trying to find themselves in this league. You need good coaching. And I'm very, very interested to see how Ben Johnson's going to fill this staff out. There's rumors out there that he's going to potentially try and get Dennis Allen, the former Saints, the former Raiders head coach. But before you guys jump down my throat, I want you guys to understand, Dennis Allen is like an Eberflus. Not a great head coach, but a above average defensive coordinator, a really good defensive play caller who has called defensive plays in this league at a top 10 level for a long, long time. Dennis Allen would immediately take pressure off Ben Johnson and his head coaching duties. Like, immediately would take pressure off. And the guy has head coaching experience that can help Ben Johnson kind of, get into the motion, into the swing of things, how to work a schedule, how to tell guys where they need to be, all the little things that he wasn't doing as offensive coordinator. A guy coming in with head coaching experience can help him transition, can help him adapt. I think that'd be great. I think that'd be a great hire. Unfortunately, and I was so excited about this potential pairing, that Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach for the Lions, a former offensive lineman himself, former center for the Eagles, the Browns, played for a couple other teams as well. I mean, that Detroit offensive line has been a unit. They have been impressive these last couple seasons. There was reports that Ben Johnson was going to try and get Hank Fraley to come over to be the offensive coordinator here for the Bears. And Ben Johnson's still going to call plays, but Hank Fraley would be the offense coordinator and bring stability and amazing offensive line coaching experience to this team that we desperately need. There's reports saying he's going to go back to Detroit, that he's going to stay in Detroit, or he's going to take an offensive coordinator job elsewhere, whether that's with the Seahawks or with another team. Very, very interested to see how this coaching staff gets settled in and who is he going to bring in with him. Very, very curious, and I'm glued, and I'm anticipating some very interesting names. So my final thoughts about all of this. And again, I'd be remiss to say that although I'm so excited about all this, I am still skeptical, just like you guys, because this team has spurned us time in and time before. So I understand it's hard to get so excited because we haven't seen the product on the field yet. But what I'm taking from this move to me symbolizes that the Bears are serious. They are finally serious. They're doing everything in their possible power to try and be a contender. It is a new era of Bears football, and now they have to go out and show it on the field. It's not a guarantee of success that this is going to work, but what the Bears did to make such an aggressive and universally applauded move around the NFL to land the top head coach candidate in Ben Johnson, like, it's been a fun couple days if you're a Bears fan. And I want everyone out there to enjoy this. And, we can crack jokes about how we won last offseason. Are we going to win this offseason? Winning the offseasons doesn't mean shit. Winning in the season means everything. Time will tell. Time will tell if this home run hire will turn into a home run head coach. But so far, I've come away impressed. And so far, I'm liking what I'm hearing. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and giving me some of your time. Let me know what you guys think about the hire. Are you guys skeptical? Are you guys elated? Are you just in the middle? Because, again, you've been hurt too many times by this team before. I'm extremely hopeful. I'm extremely optimistic that they got it right this time. I have to believe that. I have to believe that they got their guy. They did the right thing last April, getting the clear-cut number one player in college football, Caleb Williams. Like, we can have the Jayden Daniels, Caleb Williams conversation in 3 years. But you can't tell me if Washington was at number one, they wouldn't have chose Caleb too. Like, the Bears did what everyone thought they should do, and they did the same thing in this situation. They went out and got the guy that made the most sense, and they didn't try to outsmart anybody. They didn't try and go into left field and pluck Mark Trestman from the Canadian Football League. They didn't hire, they didn't hire a guy that's been waiting under the wings of Andy Reid, but had no idea what he was doing. They didn't hire a former defensive coordinator that the Colts were going to potentially fire anyway. They hired a guy that so many other teams wanted. And the fact that he chose us, the fact that he wanted to be here, the fact that him and his family already love Chicago, that they've gone to Wrigley Field before, that they think this place is special, that they chose us. That's a win, folks. That is a win. And for a team that we all love to root for that doesn't get many wins, I'm taking this as a win. And I hope you will too. Again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and taking your time. Again, check us out on Apple, check us out on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you guys listen to your podcasts. Please like, subscribe, comment. Feedback is a gift. This has been the Bear Necessities Podcast. I'm John Presnowski. Thank you so much. Be good, be well, and don't forget to bear down.